Hello. Yeah, recently I've been talking about serious stuff. Well, they were serious to me. But I recently got back from this business trip. I was in Kyoto for just about 16 hours. So I wasn't there for a long time. But yeah, I was in Kyoto. So, and then I had this very interesting experience that I thought that I would share because I and I would like to call I don't know what I would call it. The Last Samurai, maybe that's what I'm gonna name this video. Anyway, so I was on my way to Kyoto, um, and I just I was in the first class, and I don't usually uh sit in the first class because it's quite expensive, but it's just that day I was very hungover, I was very tired, and I needed some rest because I was gonna pull an all-nighter in Kyoto. Um, so I needed to rest. So, of course, first class seats are, you can just sleep through. And anyway, I only had my credit card. I just had my credit card. So and then the vendors came, and I assumed that because well, I never really bought anything on the Shinkansen. The Shinkansen is like a rapid train. If you've seen that one movie, Inception, that's kind of like it. Except it doesn't really have those compartments. There's just like it looks like an airplane more or less, and the seats are they just recline. And I didn't have any cash on me. I was quite embarrassing. I only had about $5, and I was hungry and I needed some water, and I thought that I could get it with my credit card, but no, um they said that they only took cash, which I thought was pretty weird, first class. But anyway, so I was sitting there, and I guess there was an old man sitting across me. Like, here's an aisle, and this is where I was sitting. An old man, a very gentleman looking, very clean, and he looked very. I wasn't staring at him, so no. Suit, necktie, very, good posture, and he was just sitting there. And I guess he overheard my conversation because when the cart left, he said, "There's a vendor outside this cart," uh, and he gave me um, a couple hundred yen. He said, "Oh, excuse me, I don't really have that much cash either." And I said, "No, sir, I cannot take your money. I humbly, refuse to take your money." And said, "No, please take it, please." And then I said, "Thank you." And then before I could even go to buy some water, the vendor, I don't know what I didn't see the vendor come, so I guess I was rummaging through my stuff or sleeping or something. I was doing something, obviously. So then the stewardess comes and she hands me this lunch pack, a very big a pack of sandwiches and a bottle of wine, a little bottle, not a big bottle, and a bottle of mineral water, like And I was very confused. And then he said, "Well, it's from that gentleman over there," and I immediately I got up because I'm Japanese. I got up and I bowed to him and I said, "Oh, well, thank you very much. I mean, I will humbly accept this." And he said, "It's not a problem. Just eat and drink." And I said, I was actually quite hungover, so I really didn't want to drink. But you know how I didn't want to be rude or anything. So he came over and he opened the wine for me, which the stewardess is supposed to do. But it's just I don't know. I guess I don't know why. But he came over and he opened the wine and he put it in the glass for me and he said, "Cheers." And I said, and then after a while, it's about a 2.5 hour ride to Kyoto, and I wasn't sleeping at all. I was talking to this man, and he spoke German, English, Japanese, and he said that he's studying Chinese. He was 68 years old. Yes. And um, and then I asked, I gave him my business card, and I humbly asked him, what, excuse me, sir, but what exactly do you do for a living? I mean, you're very gentleman. Thank you so much for the meal. And he said, oh, I'm actually, to tell you the truth, I am a Yakuza. And I just laughed. I said, no, please, just don't, yeah, please don't tease. You can know, like, you're not Yakuza. And he said, oh, so you think you find that quite funny? And I said, yes, I do. I think it's a very good joke. You're a Yakuza. And I was crying. I was teary-eyed. I was just crying. We were both a little bit drunk, tipsy. And they said, oh, no, well, I guess the image that you have of Yakuza must be very horrible. I said, oh, yes, of course. I've watched all those Yakuza movies and Mafia movies, so I would know if I would see a Yakuza. They have tattoos all over their body. And he said, and he just smiled at me, and he started chuckling this little, very cute laugh. And he started chuckling, and he said, oh, well, I guess that's what people think about us, huh? And I thought, oh, wait a minute, is he really, yeah, he must be telling the truth. And I said, so I was like, my posture was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I just met like a real life Yakuza, like a mafia. And he said, well, the younger ones who are still in training, or uh, like the hitman kind of people, they may have tattoos and they look weird, but we do not do anything like that. We do plain business. And I'm assuming business, they're talking about drug dealing or whatever scary stuff our Japanese Yakuza do, right? So, um, I was freaked out. I wasn't freaked out, it was just, and I had already given him my business card. Excuse me, I'm sorry, something just popped up. And, so he said, oh, I will call you next time I go back to Tokyo, because he was going to Nagoya, and I had heard a rumor that Nagoya was the head of all the Yakuza in Japan. And then I thought, oh, he lives in Nagoya, he must be real, for real. So then he said, well, like, and then I said to him, like, I thought, like, if you're like chairman of, he said something something group, something like, he's head of Nagoya. There's head of Tokyo, head of Nagoya. It's like chairman Yakuza. And I said, well, I thought you have all these bodyguards and like SB whatever people, And then he said, well, it's not very nice and it's not very polite to travel in that manner. So yes, I do have a bodyguard in the front of the cart and in the back of the cart, just in case. And I said, no, you don't. No. Then he said, he just laughed. He just laughed it off. He thought it was funny that I thought it was funny. Anyway, so he gets off the train at Nagoya, yeah, which is one stop away from Kyoto. So I just thought, whoa, I don't know what to think. And then he knocks on the window, on my window, because I was actually sitting by the window, but the first class was almost empty. The lines of the first classes are going out of business. Anyway, he knocks on my window from outside, like on the platform, right? And I was like, yes. And then he says, which, and I'm assuming he's saying thank you, and I'm thank you too. And then I see two men in black people running from this side and this side, as he said, from the front and the back of the cart, bowing to him, taking his suitcase, and he's just patting one of them on the back, for real. And then he turns around, bows to me, and they bow a lower bow to me, like a 90 bow, which is the most respectful bow. And I just whoa, whoa, whoa. So I call my friend in Kyoto, like, right after that happens, and I say, guess what? You just won't believe who I met on the train, blah, 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 blah. And I actually have his number here. He gave me his name and his number. And he said, I can't give you my business card out of, like, obvious reasons. But that's what happened during my trip in Kyoto. And I just thought that it was amazing. I mean, I don't know what to think. It was my first experience to encounter like a real live mafia. Oh, and by the way, Yakuza is, you cannot, it's a kind of a, it's the same as using foul words, foul language. So you can't, it's not it's considered like if you say it on TV, they'll go just beep, like that. So anyway, so I'm kind of hyped up about what happened. But that's what happened, and I thought that was very interesting. So